The final part of this chapter talks about education, and this is an area that I'm very passionate about. I believe that nutrition education can help improve nutrient intake by teaching consumers what foods to grow, what foods to choose, and how to prepare food safely. And you're going to watch a video this week on RDN's Changing the World, and you can see how nutrition education can be used in a variety of individual and public formats to change people's behaviors. And I hope that after completing the semester project that you have really learned a lot with your self-analysis and dig really deep into the way your diet now will affect your future wellness and risk for chronic diseases. We know that education is particularly important when introducing new crops. No matter how nutritious it may be, new plant varieties are not beneficial unless farmers know how to grow it and populations eat and accept that food source and know how to prepare it for consumption. For instance, white yams are common in some regions, or a poor source of beta-carotene, which our body can use to make vitamin A. And as we've seen, that's a huge nutritional deficiency in under economically developed populations. But if we could change those to sweet potatoes, which are rich in beta-carotene, and those became an acceptable choice, the amount of vitamin A available to that population would increase. But if they don't like the new variety and they don't know how to prepare it and they're not used to it, those all can become issues. Food safety is a concern when we're looking at dietary practices. There's an example in the book, and they talk about introducing papaya to the diet as a source of vitamin A, but it won't improve someone's nutritional status if it's washed in unsanitary water and causes dysentery among the people it's meant to nourish. Also, education to encourage breastfeeding. That can improve a population's nutritional status and health. We know that to achieve optimal growth, development, and health, the World Health Organization recommends that infants be exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months of life, and after that, offering other foods while breastfeeding continues for up to 2 years of age or beyond. And especially in populations where malnutrition is an issue. We went into great detail on the nutritional and health benefits of breastfeeding. We know that it provides the optimal nutrition and immune factors that reduce risks of infectious diseases. And in developing nations where infant mortality from infectious disease is high, breastfeeding is even recommended for women who are HIV positive if the HIV treatment for the mother and a nutritious alternative to breast milk for the infant are not available. And in those cases, the risk of the baby dying of malnutrition and other infections outweighs the risk of transmitting the virus to the milk. Fortification, although food fortification doesn't provide energy for a hungry population because we're just fortifying with vitamins and minerals, it can increase the protein quality of the diet and help to eliminate micronutrient deficiencies. So in order to solve nutritional problems in a population, fortification must be thought about wisely. We know that fortification works only in vulnerable groups who consume centrally processed foods. The food selected for fortification should be among those that are consistently consumed by the majority of the population, so that it promotes and re-educates people to encourage their consumption. And the nutrients should be added uniformly so that everyone has access to it. We know that fortification has been very successful, as we talked about before, in preventing health problems in the United States. Fortification of cow's milk to increase vitamin D intake was a major factor in the elimination of infant rickets, and the enrichment of grains with niacin helped eliminate pellagra, and fortification of salt with iodine is successfully eliminating iodine deficiency disease in countries around the world. Additionally, an alternative to traditional fortification is biofortification, which uses plant breeding to increase the nutrient content of staple foods. For example, breeders have developed corn that provides higher levels of beta-carotene than traditional varieties, and the challenge is to get local farmers and to consumers to accept these biofortified crops. So here, this graph is in the book, and it shows the introduction of iodized salt into a population's diet, and it helps eliminate iodine deficiency. And we can see over the past decade that a number of countries with salt iodization programs has increased dramatically, and it's estimated that 70% of households worldwide now have access to iodized salt, which is amazing. So what's all the debate about? Why is it important to preserve all the varieties of rice that currently exist, even if we don't rely on them as a food source? And I really think you should read that in the book, where the debate on combating vitamin A deficiency with golden rice. What about what's a nutrition safety net? Well, the nutrition safety net is, the concept is federal I think, let me just step back a minute here. We've talked a lot about world hunger and eliminating world hunger, but we know that there's a lot of hunger in the United States. And hunger in the United States involves improving economic security, keeping food affordable, providing food aid to those that are hungry, and offering education about healthy diets that will meet nutritional needs and reduce diseases related to overconsumption. So in some areas we have plenty of food, but it's not very nutrient dense. And even when we look at ourselves, maybe we have an abundance of food in our life, or we're broke because we're in college and we're not choosing the right combination of foods. So the nutrition safety net is it's considered a group of federal programs that provide access to affordable food and promote healthy eating, and that's what the nutrition safety net is for the American population. There's a large table in your book that shows a variety of programs, but these nutrition assistant programs include a combination of general nutrition assistance and specialized programs that target groups with particular nutritional risks, like children, seniors, infants, women during and after pregnancy, Native Americans living on reservations, people with disabilities, and homeless people. And we know that about 1 out of every 4 Americans receives some kind of food assistance, which is costs in the hundreds of billions of dollars per year. The largest USDA program designed to make sure that all people have access to an adequate diet is the Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program, or the SNAP program. It used to be called the Food Stamp Program, but the name has changed. The Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program, or the SNAP program, provides monthly benefits in the form of coupons or debit cards that can be used to purchase food, thereby supplementing the food budgets of low-income individuals. And together with SNAP, 4 other programs target high-risk populations. That's the National School Lunch Program, the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Infants and Children, or WIC, the Child and Adult Care Food Program, and the School Breakfast Program. And this counts for about 97% of the USDA's expenditure for food and nutrition assistance. Be sure that you review these programs and you know what's available. Now, hunger relief. Let me just finish kind of on some of those programs. Additionally, there are food and nutrition programs from churches, communities, charitable emergency food shelters for many Americans. Lots of nonprofit food distribution programs help directly provide for those in food in need, like food banks. The leading hunger relief charity in the United States is Feeding America, and they provide food assistance to more than about 37 million Americans per year. And in their networks are food banks across the country that support food pantries, soup kitchens, and distribute food to hungry Americans. And virtually all these food distribution programs use food obtained through food recovery, which involves collecting food that is wasted in fields, commercial kitchens, restaurants, and grocery stores, distributing it to those in need. And it's estimated that about 40% of Americans' food goes uneaten. So we do waste a lot of food in the United States. Field gleaning. So these oranges were harvested in California as part of a local gleaning program. So what field gleaning is a type of food recovery that involves collecting crops that have not been harvested because it is not economically profitable to harvest them, and they remain in the field after harvesting, and normally they would rot and just be wasted. But now what they're trying to do is gather that food and give it back to those that are hungry and need that food because it's less than perfect to sell in the store. Nutrition education, again, people have more nutrition information and greater awareness of their relationship between diet and health. Consume healthier diets. You all will consume much healthier diets after the end of this course. And healthy diets not only improve our current health by optimizing growth, productivity, and well-being, but are essential for preventing chronic disease. And increasing your knowledge about nutrition can reduce medical costs and improve the quality of life. And we know that educating individuals with lower income on how to stretch their food dollars, making wise choices at the store, and reducing food waste at home, it can promote community gardens to increase the availability of seasonal vegetables. Nutrition education can teach people how to prepare foods received from commodity food banks and prepare them more nutritiously. Nutrition education includes explaining safe food handling and preparation methods. That's why we covered food safety, and knowing which foods to chew and how to choose and how to handle food safely is important in preventing malnutrition. So very, very important. So it's very important to review the dietary guidelines for the Americans, My Plate, and food label education with the general public to help them make wise food choices. So that's the end of chapter 14. It's been an amazing semester, and good luck on finishing this week and completing the final exam, and I hope that you will be well.